What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Zamboni. I'm a musician at Astrology, and it is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. As always, I thank you so very much for being here. Thank you for rocking with me all the way to the end of the video. Thank you for sending it to a friend. Thank you for going to zamboniphone.com to get a reading for yourself once you see how nice I am with the astrology aspects and be like, ooh, maybe he could do that for me. And go to zamboniphone.com and hit that little book button there. Or you can go to the link in my bio and hit the little book button there. I appreciate you for doing that. If you want to go to zamboniphone.com and listen to some music, you could do that. The music that I have made is very good. I'm very, very proud of it. Thank you so much for going and checking that out and verifying what I am saying here. That's part of the reason why I always tell you what aspects I'm doing and all this. I'm delineating aspects, and I'm not just telling you what it means because I'm like showing you my work so you can verify. That's all I want you to do. I want you to go to zamboniphone.com/music and verify that the music is as dope as I say. You can also go to Patreon, get an election report and other stuff. Thank you so much for being here with me. Let's talk about the astrology of the week ahead. This week, we got a gang of planets in Capricorn. Been having this gang of planets in Capricorn. We had Mars there for a little while. We got Mercury there now. We got Venus up in there now as well. So I think probably like right now or something like this, we've got a Mercury-Mars conjunction in Capricorn. So Mercury moves faster than Mars does. And so it's going to move, it's going to start to move away from that Mars. It's just going to sort of like speed away. And Mars is still just like kind of chugga woo woo in Capricorn. Now we honestly like to see Mars getting his little chugga on in Capricorn. It's a good situation for Mars. Now it's Marsy, right? It's still going to be all the Mars things. It's going to be like kind of fighty or action oriented or sharp or passionate or something like this. Like it's hot and spicy in a way that might make your nose run or might might bring out some tears or something like this, right? It's going to be the Mars things. However, it's also effective for doing the Mars thing. So if you need to have some kind of sharp conversation or something like that, then now's a good time to do that. If you need to get into, I've got this house plant that I've been concerned about for a little while. And when I looked the other day, I was like, oh, like maybe cutting some things is going to help this plant out. And in fact, it did. I did some pruning and it was like, oh, this plant looks way better now. There's like room for it to thrive or something like this, right? Sometimes doing the Mars thing, the chopping things away or something like this, sometimes this can be effective. This is still a good time to do that, especially since we've got this Mercury here. This is part of what I was saying about sharp conversations, right? Like getting into the space where you have to have some kind of uncomfortable conversation. It's going to be pointy for a little while. Maybe you're going to bring up some tears. Maybe there'll be some tears for you, maybe for the other person, something like this. But because we can see that Mars is in Capricorn, making this sextile to Saturn and making this trine to Jupiter, then this looks like it can be something like helpful all told. It can be effective once everything has happened. So go ahead and have that difficult conversation. Do the thing that you need to do. Now, this week, at the same moment, as the exact conjunction between Mercury and Mars, we've also got Venus in Capricorn. And Venus in Capricorn is, I think, today or tomorrow making an exact trine to Jupiter in Taurus. We love to see that. And then also we can see that Mercury and Mars are making a trine to Uranus in Taurus. So there's stuff in Capricorn trine to stuff in Taurus. So not only does it look like it wants to be a little bit effective, but it also looks like it can be innovative in some kind of way. This is a really good time to try something, say something that you maybe feel a little way about saying, but like, because maybe it's going to start some trouble, maybe it's going to be some kind of spark that could like flame your whole shit up or something like this, right? But maybe, it's like a no risk, no reward kind of situation, right? So if you can maybe try some new things, this looks like a good week for trying things and those things coming out in some kind of beautiful, effective, or helpful kind of way. So I like to see this for sure. I do like to see this. As we move forward, not this week, right? This week, nobody's changing signs. Everybody except the moon, but like everybody's just kind of like where they are. Pluto has moved into Aquarius. Venus has moved into Capricorn. The Capricorn planets that are there are still hanging out in Capricorn. Like we saw a couple of changes last week, and we've been seeing some shifts in this kind of thing. But right now, everybody is just kind of chilling, doing their thing, well, I don't know if Capricorn planets are chill. They're not, but they are doing the thing that they're doing. There's not a lot of like changes in the situation that's going on. It's more about like doing that thing. I think that this week is still a really good week for doing things, for getting stuff done, launching new projects, trying to push things forward, trying to innovate in whatever ways you can, or invent, or like experiment new ideas, this kind of thing. Brainstorming looks really, really good during this time, especially with that Mercury, Mars there together and alongside Venus, right? Mercury and Mars by themselves can be a little bit abrasive and aggressive, but you add that Venus in there and suddenly like it's abrasive and aggressive, but also like magnetic in some kind of way, right? Like there's Mercury or Mars and Venus together often feels like chemistry in whatever way, right? And maybe that's like sexy, or maybe it's really like brand new ideas or something like this. Like, have you ever been in a conversation where somebody was just like setting your shit off, and you say something back to them, and it's clear that their like synapses are firing and all of this, right? This is that kind of situation, right? There in Capricorn. This is a really good time to do all this stuff. As we move forward, then again, not this week, but moving forward, we're going to see planets. So pretty soon Mercury is going to move into Aquarius, and when we see that Mercury moving into Aquarius, then it's going to be conjunct Pluto first thing, and this is going to be our first conjunction to Pluto in Aquarius in like 250 years or something. So this is like a pretty big deal. Then after that, then Mars is going to move into Aquarius and conjoin that Pluto. Mars-Pluto is very big and uncomfortable Mars things. Then Venus is going to move into Aquarius and conjoin that Pluto. So we're going to get big Venus-Pluto things. You know, we might think about like jealousy or obsession or something like this, right? And then as all that happens, and there's going to be a new moon there, also conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. Also, all this stuff is going to be then square to the Taurus planet. So that looks like it's probably going to be some kind of conflict or tension or something like that with the Taurus planets, rather than the trine that we have with Capricorn planets. Currently, this week, we've got planets in Capricorn trine to Taurus planets. A trine is going to be a supportive, helpful aspect. They're working together cooperatively, rather than a square, which is a little more conflict or tension or something like this, right? So where we are right now, without things moving around too much, right? Stuff isn't really changing signs. This is a good time to like channel in, put on your little blinders, do the thing that you need to do in order to get things into motion. Because once we get into Aquarius time, and yes, the sun is in Aquarius, already making this square to Jupiter and beginning to make a square to Uranus, and there conjunct Pluto and all this sort of stuff, right? But once we get all these other planets moving into Aquarius, then things start to get a little weird. This is one of the things that I was noticing when I was in doing my electional report, which is available at patreon.com/danbonifong. In order to help the patrons begin projects at times that are more effective and auspicious for them, and to avoid the times that are difficult. You can find that at Patreon. When I was making that report this month for February, I noticed that there was some good times, especially toward the beginning while stuff was still in Capricorn. But then after that, things get a little weird. All the rising signs start to get difficult. And so there comes a point where there's a lot of obstacles and hurdles and boundaries and difficulty, and a lot of them might even be hidden with this Pluto stuff going on here as well. So now is a good time to move, on the assumption that in a week or two, and then sort of beyond that, then things are going to be a little bit dicey. And so a good move now is to begin the things that you can hopefully maintain a little bit later. Whenever we're talking about elections, we're talking about initiation, we're talking about launch points. And so we're talking about launching things now while the skies are good, and then trying to maintain those things while the skies are a little more rough, rather than waiting to launch while we've got rough skies. Because when you launch, then there's a lot we could think about the Challenger, right? Like the launch is a difficult time to get through. So once you get through the launch and once you're already sailing, maintaining is easier than trying to navigate something for the first time. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? That kind of thing. And maintenance is easier. Thank y'all so much for being here. Check out ZamboniFunk.com.